This is the Grand Theater here at the Grand Sierra Resort, the GSR here in Reno, Nevada. And this is one of the most interesting and historic rooms in all of Reno. And the ownership and the management here has been more than kind to allow us to go backstage and see things that the public ordinarily cannot see. The inner workings of this theater that, when it was constructed in 1978, was the world's largest stage. And is there really a commercial jet airliner parked backstage here? We are going to find out here on the Reno You Know. I've previously done videos on the Grand Sierra Resort, which started life as the MGM Grand, and also on the production of the long-running show Hello, Hollywood, Hello, which started life in the late 70s and ran all through the 1980s. And if you haven't seen those videos, I'll leave links to them at the end of this one. And I thought, who would be better to help us walk through this historic room than Greg Hoff? And Greg was a lighting technician here for 11 years during the long-running Hello, Hollywood, Hello. So he kind of knows the room and where the light switches are and cords that we need to step over, right?
Right.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Well, we're going to walk around the room here and see some pretty cool stuff. So stay with us. In case you haven't seen my previous episode on Hello, Hollywood, Hello, allow me to give you a quick layout so that you'll have some context for some of the amazing things that you're going to see in this video. When the MGM Corporation built the MGM Grand in Reno, which is today the Grand Sierra Resort, they wanted to present an over-the-top, take-your-breath-away, large-scale production. It was based on scenes from famous MGM movies, and it was planned to only run for 5 years. However, it ran for 11, from 1978 to 1989. It was billed as the largest production in the world on the largest stage in the world. Up to 150 dancers performed at each show, supported by over 100 stage crew and wardrobe crew members. This was the longest running show in Reno's history, and it was presented in a huge theater facility called the Ziegfeld Theater that was constructed especially to accommodate this large production. There were 3 massive elevators that delivered stage scenery up through the floor, 2 huge turntables on either side of the stage, and 800 spotlights. When it opened, the room had seating for 1,800 people, including dinner show seating. And after a remodel about 10 years ago, the capacity hovers right around 3,000 today. I saw this production myself just before the end of its run, so I can vouch for the fact that it really was over the top, almost to the point of being overproduced. There were showgirls and feathers and fire and waterfalls, outer space scenes, earthquakes, and more. And also for my Hello, Hollywood, Hello video that I did previously, for that video I wanted to include interior scenes of the theater where the production was held, but I wasn't able to get clearance to film inside until now. And that actually worked out quite well because now we can spend more time looking at the fabulous features of this theater. One of the most memorable scenes was the opening number, where a jet airliner appears to fly across the length of the stage on its way to land in Reno, and then moments later, the life-size jet appeared from back of the stage and pulled forward towards the audience, with dancers performing on top of each of the wings. It was truly mind-blowing, and it still lives on in the memories of many people, almost 7 million of them that saw the show before it closed in 1989.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Furcos!
All right, we're walking back to stage right here, and I believe you told me that that was Sinatra's dressing room when you performed here?
Initially it was built for side acts in the show. The show had quite a few different side acts in it. But when Sinatra came to visit, they wanted to have a place for him on stage right, which is a little unusual. A lot of theaters have the dressing rooms on stage left. But we had this dressing room here, so they said, well, that's great, but it's not big enough. So we had it remodeled.
All right, and this is also left over from Hello Hollywood. This is the Nob Hill set, yeah?
That's correct, yeah. This was the centerpiece for the big Nob Hill section. And again, this was built in Los Angeles and shipped up here in pieces and then constructed here. And when you look at it here, all these years later, it's still holding together pretty well. It's been used a lot, even after the Hello Hollywood show.
Crazy. And how many pieces does it take to put this together?
Well, there's three main pieces now. We have the center section, and then we have the two stairwells, left and right. And there's actually a fourth piece that gives access to the upper deck at the back. So they call that the getaway.
Getaway, yes.
So in the Hello Hollywood days, this would be sitting just downstage of that huge piece, that beautiful drop that showed the ballroom. So you had a big stained glass dome, and then you had the two peacocks on either side, stained glass windows. And then the audience couldn't see it, but the getaway would be placed behind there, so allow the performers to come up the steps and come out through the top section. And they only had a couple of people that would be using the steps in those days, but later we've used it for other things where we've had far more folks on it than it was originally designed for, so you always wonder, is it gonna
so
hold
cool
up?
that this is all still here.
Yeah, no, it's one of the few pieces that truly fit the scale of the room, so hopefully they can keep it going. They've used it for Nutcrackers and other performances in here.
Elephants.
Right. So
Gold elephants. Was this part of the Hello Hollywood show?
Yes, these were part of the circus portion. They would be the first thing the audience would see coming up out of the elevator.
Oh my
the
gosh.
elevator, the floor would be open, and the elevators would be lifting, and you'd see the elephants coming up out of the floor. And what was interesting back in those days, we actually had girls on top of the elephants. There were two seats that would be right about where the
on their heads?
Yeah, where the ears are, I guess is where the seats would be. And so the girls would be coming up out of the floor on top of these elephants. So it was quite a interesting reveal. And
yeah.
These elephants, again, I think they're probably a foam construction with plexiglass on the outside, but they're quite heavy.
And they're quite impressive.
Yeah. So.
All right, and these are the three elevators on the stage level.
Correct, yeah.
Wow.
So downstage would be A, B, C. We referred to them as Abel, Baker, and Charlie, so that over the radio, and especially when there's a lot of noise happening, you could understand. But
What's the weight capacity of one of these?
well, I was actually looking at that. It said that each elevator could handle 144,000 pounds. So altogether, it's, what was that, 346,000, I think it was, pounds. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
Of course, back then we had a lot of heavy sets, but the biggest challenge we ever had for these elevators was when we did the Splash Show. This is after Hello Hollywood had closed, but we did the Splash Show here. They made a tank for the down. The tank was on the, I'm trying to think, I guess it was the middle elevator here, Baker, and that had to hold 88,000 pounds because it was, a tank with water and mermaids, two mermaids.
Two mermaids.
Now, if there were three mermaids, we could be in trouble.
There you go.
Yeah, so this is
We're going down to the basement.
Right, yeah, this is the stairs that would lead to the lower Z. The lower Z stood for Lower Ziegfeld, of course, named after Flo Ziegfeld. And the theater itself was called the Ziegfeld Room. So the lower Z is where all the sets were stored, a lot of the mechanicals down here, a lot of materials This is where they would do a lot of the construction. And as you can see here, there's metalworking tools. There's
Yeah.
here we're also seeing the storage of the seats for the pit of the theater in its current configuration.
Oh my gosh, is this the elevator system that goes up to the stage
So
above?
this is, yeah, we're seeing the raw underbelly of the theater here. These are
Oh my gosh.
the elevators, and kind of a unique system. It has 3 elevators which can work independently or work together. They can be set to they can be set to raise and lower at different levels if they wish. So you
Okay.
could have, this is the, well, they were called A, B, and C, or Abel, Baker, and Charlie.
Okay.
When you're talking on the radio during a loud show, if you said A or B or C, it couldn't always be detected. So they
Right.
always referred to them as Abel, Baker, or Charlie.
Nice.
So Charlie is the upstage one. Anyway, all of this combined to make these really large sets because the theater is so big and the stage is so big.
Yeah.
You needed these big sets to fill it out.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Hey, if you hear cheering in the background and rumbling, they're having a cheerleader competition up above us, so we're kind of working around those guys.
right.
Well, I think you can see down into
Yeah,
the,
we could probably go down to Abel elevator. This one did not have any sets built onto it for the lower section because it got used for a few different things during the show. But it's up at the moment. You can see
oh my gosh.
down into the
Look-
pit. Now, what you're seeing, those round cylinders, that's so that the power cables, these black cables, those can all get stored neatly as the elevator lowers it. It circles up the cable for you.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Also down there, the hydraulic rams we're looking at, as you would see in an old gas station, these big rams.
Okay.
Those are containing those are raising and lowering the elevator with hydraulic fluid.
Greg,
So-
the scale of this is just supremely impressive.
Yeah, no,
my
you're not
gosh.
going to find this in many places, I don't think.
No.
But so yeah, this area down here didn't see too many personnel down there. It was mostly elevator maintenance people that were familiar with that. Now, because it is the lowest section in the hotel, there are times when groundwater has become an issue.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And they've had to pump. Well, they have automatic pumps that trigger if we ever do get water. But there have been a couple of times when the river has risen enough, because the Truckee's not far from us,
Right.
that they've actually had to go to some extra effort to get the water out of there.
So-
These areas that we're looking at were filled with large sets. We used to keep circus wagons down here. So none of this stuff was here. This was all circus wagons, and over there we had earthquake set pieces.
Earthquake set. Yeah.
Because we used to have these working side elevators. They were called the revolves. The stage left revolved and stage right revolved.
Absolutely. A little MGM lion left over from
That's
back
right.
in the day.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, there's still some of the lion still down here. And speaking
Cool.
of the lion, they used to keep him right over here.
Oh,
So we had different animals in the show, and of course the most famous one was the lion. We had 2 lions that worked in the show. It was Nimrod and Solomon. And there was
Nimrod and
another
Solomon.
lion on property that they used down in the arcade shopping area that people could get their photo taken with him. He was
I remember
kind of,
him, yeah.
kind of a sleepy lion.
Right.
But these lions that we had, there was only one in a show at the time, or at each time. But they would stay over here. They had a room for them where that roll-up door.
Really?
is.
Oh,
Yeah.
down over here. Oh,
Yeah.
The one
And then we
straight
also-
or to the right?
To the right. Yeah.
Okay.
The smaller roll-up door. And then we also had, I believe we had 8 white horses. They would stay in the next doorway.
my
And we
God.
had a dog act. The dogs would stay in another area on the other side over there. But
So this is the lions in the roll.
yeah, this door here is where the lion was, and you could hear him up on stage.
could you?
Like if it was quiet during the day, if you came in to work on something or whatever, you could hear this.
Get me out of here!
And of course, down here you'd hear him very well, because every now and then he just wanted to get out and
Yeah,
breathe
right.
the fresh air. Now, all the animals did stay on a ranch during the day. They would bring them in every day to the theater. They'd arrive probably around 4:30, 5 o'clock. We did shows at 8 and at midnight. So the second show would get finished at 2 in the morning.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
And then horses in the tall door here?
The horses were in here.
Wow.
This is now a wood shop.
Okay.
But so where we're standing now is the downstage portion of the lower Ziegfeld. And this big section here houses a water tank. I believe it's 40,000 gallons. I've heard 30,000, 40,000. I'm not sure. It's a lot of gallons.
A lot of water.
That's a lot of water. And so that's all stored to be used for the water effects that were in the show. So we had a rain curtain, which would allow to be able to make it look like the whole stage is getting rained on. It's actually just falling right on the downstage area. We had a trough that doors would open when the rain fell, so that all that rain would get collected down into the trough, and then the trough would then empty. You could see all these pipes and everything would empty back down into the water tank.
So it circulates around.
It circulated. Yeah. You could let it run indefinitely. So yeah, while we're standing here, this gives you an idea of what the control is like for the elevators. This is a remote control, so that somebody can operate it from down here, should they need to move an elevator.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, the thing with here is you want to make sure that it's clear upstairs. So we have a monitor here, and for show conditions, the monitor would be turned on.
Okay.
So you could see there's cameras. But back in the day of Hello Hollywood, they didn't have those monitors there. So you had to rely on a radio transmission to make sure that everything was clear.
And this is a trapdoor that goes under the stage, is that right, Greg?
So yeah, for the waterfalls that were used in that portion of the show, the waterfall would get pushed into position, and while that was happening, there was at least two guys that would be pulling the big hose off the back of the waterfall. It's basically a fire hose, and they'd be running it up here, and they'd lift up this door very easily.
This is all during the show?
During the show. The door would get put over on its side. That's where the fire hose would get connected.
Oh my gosh.
And then once it was secured and proper cue in the show, the water would be pumped through there.
So this is water in and water out?
This is just water in.
Okay.
The water would go through the hose, travel up the back of the waterfall, cascade down the front, go down through the rain doors and into the back under the stage into the water tank that would hold 30,000 gallons. So
that's amazing.
It could continue indefinitely.
We have climbed way up in the theater to the fly rail. They call this the fly rail. And Greg knows more about this than I do, so this is amazing.
So this is the fly rail, and we're about 40 feet above the stage, on stage left. And I believe this is the largest fly rail system you're ever going to find. So there's just not much need for other theaters to have this much in the air. I suppose maybe one of the opera houses in New York, like the Metropolitan Opera House. I'm not sure what they have going on, but
so this is all the curtain controls?
No, this is all for things that fly in and out above the stage. So some of the pieces will be curtains, some of the pieces will be borders. The borders come in from above to prevent the audience from seeing the lighting and such. And then you have your teasers or legs that come in from the sides. you had a supervisor here for the show, and then you had a crew of about 12, I think, that would operate these different...
12 guys up here running these, yeah?
Yeah, and we did have some women too. Unusual pieces that used to fly in for Hello Hollywood. We had the airplane that we talked about already. That was a smaller aircraft. That we had a hand crank mechanism over here. Of course, it's not here any longer, but you had one fellow would be cranking it. That would take it across the stage, and then you had another fellow who would be controlling its altitude, and there would be a couple of people on the stage floor over on stage right that would receive it. But the trick was to make it smooth. Sometimes you could see it going, you wanted it to go nice and smooth. Here again you can see the intercom. That's how you could speak to people here from different locations. They had TV monitors at either end. They've been upgraded to a flat screen. Those work better. The old monitors were big boxes that were, again, black and white and fuzzy.
How high above the stage are we?
40 feet.
40 feet or so?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
I know it's hard with optics to show exactly how high up we are, but that's a long way down.
Yeah, you can see from here the Nob Hill backing piece. That's the piece that, if you saw the photographs, it's got the peacocks in the windows.
Oh, that's from Hello Hollywood, yeah?
And it's got the big dome at the center, which it's quite a remarkable piece. And you look at the artwork on it, that alone is impressive. You know, to think that there are scenic artists that would paint such a huge piece. There you can see one of the old MGM logo pieces.
Yeah, there's a lion.
Some of these pieces here have been collected from different shows over the years. There's a huge screen up here that I think has got to be the world's largest rear projection screen. That was used in the space sequence for Hello Hollywood. That would come in behind the upstage set piece, which we talked about earlier, that was part of the Charlie elevator. So that was an octagonal aluminum set, and through the big window in the back of that set, we would see a film projection that showed the planets.
All right, I don't know how well we're going to be able to see this, but this was the airplane, the opening sequence airplane. It's about 5 foot long and it's made of foam, and this is what would fly across the stage and on a pulley system, right, Greg?
That's right, yes. You'd had one person controlling its travel across stage and another person controlling its altitude.
That is so cool that is still here.
Yeah, and it had little lights too that would light up inside.
Oh, lights?
Yeah.
And a landing gear?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so the stairs are very shallow. Look at this.
All right, we've made our way up to the rear projection booth, and this is the projector that would rear project onto the screens and such. Hopefully we'll be able to take off that tarp. But the guys here were telling me that the fella that used to run this would spend his downtime with the National Enquirer, and
yeah,
they're still here.
After you had the film ready to go, he had a few minutes before his cue, so he obviously brought some reading material.
What are the dates on those?
Well, this goes back to 1988.
Oh, that's great.
And this one's fascinating because Joan Rivers and evidently Brian Wilson got it together here, which I'd never heard about.
That's awesome. All this is still here.
Oh, and Barbara Mandrell's Miracle Baby. We should read all about that one. But yeah, fascinating stuff.
That's cool. So this projector.
So the business side is over here.
Is it? Okay.
So let me see if I can pull this back a little bit without throwing too much dust out. It's been a while. It's kind of like, I feel like Geraldo Rivera.
Yeah,
here.
right.
So yeah, so that's where the light's coming from.
Look at the size of this projector.
And then you've got your, well, the film would go in here, big film reel, and you'd snake it through and come down here, and this is where the aperture would be. And once you had it threaded, you could, it's stiff, it doesn't want to go back. Oops. Oh well, needs some oil. Actually, you know what? I think the sound head was removed from this one because they never used any sound on the rear projection. The front projector has a sound head.
Is this used anymore?
No, this hasn't been used since, I don't know, 90s.
Really?
Yeah.
Just a museum piece
I
now.
can't, yeah, it's
Wow.
one of those things that it's unfortunately, there's no real call for these anymore. Maybe a museum might be of interest. But
There is a ginormous face back here. What was the story with this, Greg?
right, so this was, we called it Saji's face. There was a performer in the show. He went by the name of Saji.
Okay.
And he did a drag number in the space disco portion of the show. They had filmed him saying "space fever," and so that would be projected on this right above all the excitement that was happening on the living curtain.
Are the rumors true? They are. All right, so here it is, the jet aircraft left over from almost 50 years ago from the show Hello Hollywood Hello. And Greg, tell us about this plane. Is it a real airplane?
Well, first you kind of scared me with that 50 years, but I guess that's correct.
It's true.
It was a while ago.
Now, was this ever airworthy, or was it made just for the show?
No, it was strictly designed and built as a prop, or I should say a jet.
Yeah.
A jet prop. But no, it was never designed to fly. Although when you look at how well it was put together, many people have wondered if it might be able to fly.
Now this was a living, breathing part of the show, and I think I've got footage of dancers on the wings coming out of the doors and
Right.
such. So, and they actually rolled it out from the back of the stage, like it was pulling into the terminal. Is that right?
You're right. Well, you know, it was the show, the Hello Hollywood Hello show was inspired by MGM musicals, and one of the musicals was flying down to Rio, and I think they just thought, well, Reno, we could kind of push that a little bit. So in that film, they had girls on the wings as the plane descends down into Rio de Janeiro. Well, so here we had girls that were on the wings for the top of the show. To start the show, the audience, of course, is looking at a big curtain. The curtain goes out, and we see a small jet fly across the screen, or I should say across the stage. And people think, oh, we'd heard there was a jet. We thought it was going to be a real jet.
Yeah.
But so then after the plane goes out of view, that curtain flies, and the real jet is revealed. So landing lights come on, and of course the sound effects surround the audience, and they're really impressed.
How cool.
Yeah, the plane was piloted by a fellow who would sit, or I think we actually did have a female pilot at one point during the show, so I should correct myself there. But anyway, we would have one person flying the plane, so to speak, or piloting the plane, and then we had a co-pilot. The co-pilot was responsible for lowering the doors. As you can see right now, the doors are down. And then also for controlling lights, lighting effects, and all that sort of thing. And he also would look through the floor. There's a little hole in the bottom of the fuselage, so they could see guidelines that were painted on the stage to let them know when to slow down and when to stop. Obviously, you don't want the plane going into the audience.
No, we don't.
That would be bad.
Well, let's go take a closer
Yeah,
look.
sure.
Oh my gosh.
First off, this plane is sitting in storage mode right now, so the wings are up, and about a half hour before the show would start, the wings would get lowered down. They would get everything all set to go, everything cleaned up, ready for passengers, because we had not only girls on the wings, I think there were 4 or 5 girls on each side, on each wing, and then we had performers inside the plane as well. Probably 10 to 12 performers, I can't remember exactly. So then when the cue comes for the plane to move, of course, The girls on the wings are holding onto a T-bar for safety, so they have something to hang on to. And the performers are all back in here. The pilot would sit here, the co-pilot's right there. He's flipping on the switch for the landing lights, which would blind the audience.
And the audience could see the performers right through the
Yeah.
windows here?
No, they wouldn't really see the performers through the windows. They'd see the girls on the wings. And then as the plane comes to a rest, the doors would go down, and then they'd see the performers coming out.
All right, so here's the instrument panel, and if you look down here on the floor, you can see where the pilot would be able to see the stage floor and know where they were.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you see there's a very high-tech lamp there that they would turn on so they could see the painting in the floor. And then also this gear that you're seeing, that shaft, that's the steering. You see as I turn the steering wheel, you can see that's rotating. So this is the steering box for the front wheels.
Oh my goodness.
And the plane is electrical, so it has a big umbilical cord that stretches to the back of the theater where it's plugged into the power source. But it has a big transformer here. And we've got some other equipment that's designed to operate the doors and the wings and all that sort of thing. So it's actually a fairly complex piece of equipment, but you can see they didn't put any extras in. It's strictly, it's purpose built, let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, you'd see here, this is where it says pot A and pot B. This is the potentiometer that allows you to increase speed. So this is your left motor and your right motor, and that's the speed, and you have a forward and reverse.
So the person actually bringing this plane out would be operating it from here?
Correct. Yeah, there's no remote control.
Remote, yeah.
And you can see these are the landing lights. If you flip those on,
oh my gosh.
so they're quite bright. And then you had strobes for the top of the wings, jet lights. So we have jets that are in the wings that are backlit with some lights, and then that had a rotating impeller, I guess you'd say.
Okay.
That would give the effect of turbines spinning for the jet.
Oh, nice.
And footlights, that's for on the wings where the girls were. That lights up so they can see I'll show you.
Yeah, let me take a peek out there.
Oops, there's the footlights right there.
Oh, wow, cool. And you can also see the handles that would raise up that the girls would hang on to
Right.
for safety.
Hinged T-handles.
Nice.
Probably wouldn't pass OSHA rules these days.
Well, there's not too many dancers on these wings these days, so nice.
Like I say, they have utilized it for numerous shows and conventions since then, so they do have people on the wings on occasion.
Oh, really?
I know we did a band on the wing, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh.
Reminds me of a Paul McCartney thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they've used it in every form and fashion you can imagine. They've gotten a lot of use. Some people thought, well, after the show was closed, they'd get rid of the airplane, but
It's kind of hard to move.
frankly, it's such a large stage that it's really not in the way.
All right, so now we're facing the rear of the plane, and this looks like where the performers would kind of congregate and get ready to go out.
That's right. So when they first board the airplane, they would all be back here waiting for their cue to deplane.
Nice. It looks like there's mirrors so in case they need to
That's
do
right.
some
They could
last-minute touch-ups.
check their hair, check their makeup. That's right.
Nice. So no seats, of course,
No seats.
but there is you can see the mechanism down here that will raise and lower the wings.
These are the
right?
the winch motors that would raise and lower the wings. Correct.
Nice.
One time they failed. I remember we had to get a group of stage crew together to pull it off of a block and fall with a rope to get it up out of the way so we could continue to do the show.
Oh my gosh. And what are the ducts up behind there?
Those ducts are actually to store the cable when the plane wings go down, they disconnect cables, and those cables are stored back in those sonotubes.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just storage.
So who has essentially built this? Who is contracted?
Okay, so it was built in Las Vegas by the Las Vegas stage crew, I believe. They may have brought some other folks from LA to help with that. But the Las Vegas property, we're talking the MGM days.
Uh-huh.
The Las Vegas property had a fellow named Louis Bradfield, I believe is his correct name. He was head of the props crew, and he took under it. It was his project to build this thing.
Wow.
So I have to say he did an awesome job. All these years later,
Yes.
the plane is still working. There's been a few small little minor things, but overall it's held together very well. So kudos to that crew that built this plane. I believe it was built in a warehouse somewhere outside of Las Vegas and then shipped up here.
It's trucked up in parts, I would assume,
a lot of the scenery that came up for Hello Hollywood was too big to build here at the time, because the theater was being built. They just didn't have the room to put it all together with everything being built. So it was built mostly in Southern California. Some of the big props houses down there. I think the Croft studio did a lot of the big pieces. So it was all brought up on trucks and then assembled here.
All right, so this is one of the sets of landing gear here that would roll the plane back and forth on the stage. And these are electric powered, yeah?
That's correct, yeah. It's a chain drive. You can see the sprocket and chain there, and it's directly connected to the motor.
Oh, yeah.
The front wheels are actual wheels, as you can see, Goodyear rubber, and those are the same set of tires that it's been on since its inception back in 1978.
Oh my gosh.
And then the rear wheels are just
Those
dummies.
are just dummy tires?
Plastic. But
I gotcha.
They did a good job on replicating them.
And there's the electric motor in the back
That's correct.
that powers this beast. And there's, of course, this same set on the other side as well.
Right.
Nice.
Right. There's an umbilical cord that connects the power, and you can see, I don't know if you can see from there, but that plugs and
That just
unplugs
plugs
from
right
the
in?
aircraft, yeah.
Awesome.
So once the airplane goes back into storage, after it's done for the show, they would disconnect that and put all the cable upstage so that dancers wouldn't trip on it.
Got it.
So we're up in the upper catwalks here. The dancers, if they were coming up here for their circus finale scene, they would be wearing very little, probably just a G-string and a towel.
Yeah?
And they would go to their disc that they were going to travel down on. They would hand the towel and go down on the lift.
Can we see the little discs that the girls were lowered on?
Those would be down on the next level.
Yeah, the sheer scale of what is going on here just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And it was put in the 1970s.
Yeah,
So-
1977, 78 is when all this was being put together. And it is amazing when you think just about the amount of metal, just to fabricate this. It blows your mind.
You see the
Now
stage way down there from the catwalks.
That's
up
right.
there.
Yeah. So this would be the stage left disc. This one is, you had you see the ring right there so that they could attach the person. They
Yeah.
had a little harness,
Little harness on there.
and they would attach them with that so that they would be safe.
Yes.
And that would be lowered down over the audience.
That is so cool to see that from this level, because I remember being in the audience, just seeing the girls come down on these platforms. I thought that was amazing. So this is where that happened.
Also, you can see over here, this winch system, that was for a later show that we did where we actually flew a girl across the stage.
Oh my gosh.
If you show the light over there a little bit better, you can see, there you go. So that's kind of interesting. We had a drill motor that was basically re-geared, and
Oh, it is a drill. That's great.
and it actually would pull the girl across from the stage, right side stage, all the way. She'd land here on this piece. It would be lowered down about 8 or 10 feet. So this is the dimmer room. We're on stage right.
Way up above the stage.
Yeah, we're still 40 feet above the stage. And this room is, I think, fairly unique as far as dimmer rooms go. It houses 330 12K dimmers. So each one of these dimmers is able to handle 12,000 watts of electricity. So That's what you're looking at.
Holy cats.
And we had, I think, over 2,500 circuits. Up there is the patch panel. So you would find the area of the stage that you were trying to send electricity to. It's laid out in a geographic pattern. So this stuff up here is going to be all the stuff that's above the audience. And as you move along, it's going to be further upstage.
Okay.
Okay, so we're upstage at the fly rail, and we're looking at the big book. This was prepared by Stagecraft Industries in Portland, Oregon, for the production theater at the MGM Grand Hotel. So this is fascinating to look at because it has all different aspects of the fly rail and you know, different associated pieces. Everything has been carefully plotted out, planned, drawn, and then of course when they came in to build it, I'm sure they probably had to make a few adjustments. But it is fascinating to look at the amount of detail. So here we are years later. If you're having a problem with a piece of equipment, you can go to this book and see how it was originally designed, and that's a big help. When I go into a theater to this day, I look up to see what the house lights look like.
Now we're going to the light booth, is that right?
This is the lighting booth.
Okay, so wow, we've taken the catwalks all the way around to the kind of the back of the theater now.
Right. So this, yeah, the booth of
booth
light.
of
Here we
light.
go. Sorry, things are.
Oh wow.
So this is where the lighting control is for work lights and for the stage lighting and all of that. We have the old control desk down there. We have the spotlights here, projector, camera.
Oh my word.
The way things work nowadays, most of the lighting is controlled from the showroom. There's a desk down there, and they control all the lighting for that. Back in the days of Hello Hollywood, it was all controlled from up here.
From up here, yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
we have.
Who got to sit in the couches?
Well, we quite often we would get performers would come in because they were trying to observe a particular part of the show that they might have to start doing. So
there you go.
They would come up to watch the show, and matter of fact, that's how I met my wife. She was sitting here, and I was sitting there, and we were chatting.
Yeah.
And she had just arrived from South Africa, so
Oh
just arrived on a plane just an hour or two before the show. So
now tell me about the ducts rising out of the lights. Is that just to dissipate heat?
Correct, yes. There's a fan system that sucks all the heat up because these do generate quite a bit of heat. So this is a strong Super Trooper. These are not the original spotlights that we had. The original ones used what they called a carbon arc, which is basically two carbon sticks that the operator would hit together, kind of like welding, you know, and it would create an arc, and then the reflector creates the beam, goes through the lenses and such. You've got your controls here, your dowser and your shutter controls the shape of the light, and then your iris is, you know, opening and closing. And then you have the colors at the front, your different gel colors.
And all these lights are still functioning today?
These lights all still function, yeah. Some shows these days only use one spotlight. Some shows want 4 spotlights. So it varies, depends a lot. This is the main console for the lighting over here. So this is an area where, you know, the board operator would sit here and operate console. This is actually not the original console. It was changed out, I think, in the early 80s. But so this would be controlling all the stage lights.
Okay, is this still used today?
No, they don't really use it so much anymore because they have the moving light desk downstairs, and you can see right now the lights are on down there. Yeah. And this board is not even on.
Right.
But this got a lot of use. It was used for a lot of shows, a lot of rock shows and that kind of thing. So these buttons over here are what they call non-dims. So if you had something that you wanted to just turn off and on, like it might be a set piece, or in some cases we fired pyro from here, so you would turn, the system's not on right now, but you would activate this, and this row here would light up. And so if you had, let's say you had a non-dim 10 that would fire pyro on a particular piece, you just hit that and boom, it would go. So.
Oh my gosh, look at the autograph wall backstage.
Yeah, there's a lot of autographs here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a lot of these folks aren't with us anymore.
I'm just going to kind of breeze past here, so I don't know if you're going to be able to read these very well, but there is a bunch of entertainers that have signed the wall here.
This is David Copperfield up here. It's hard, he's been written over.
Oh,
John Prine, he's no longer with us.
Oh my gosh. I remember I went to the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake, Iowa, which was the Brian Wilson.
Buddy Holly.
Yeah, that's where, Buddy Holly had his last gig, and they had the green room or the offstage room is just like this. All these signatures of performers that came through.
It used to be a little more orderly. It's gotten a little crazy now, but
Fall Beach.
it's fun. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Now this is Alice Cooper right here.
There he is.
Yeah.
Wow. And you said David Copperfield was up here?
Yeah, and there's Conan over there. Let's see. Yeah, David Copperfield. Let's see if
Oh
I can
yeah.
get there.
And where was Conan?
Conan's over here, right here. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. It's hard to find room to sign anymore.
Yeah, no, it's gotten a little crazy here.
When did they start doing this? Do you know?
Well, it would probably be early 90s.
Early 90s, yeah.
Yeah. Alan Parsons right here.
Prince?
No, Prince never performed here. He did perform out in we had a lounge out in the casino, and he performed there. He wasn't scheduled to. He just got up and started playing with one of the bands that was there.
Wow.
There's Pat Benatar.
Oh yeah, Pat
and
Benatar.
The Chieftains.
And Spider.
John Lithgow is a lovely drawing. I don't know. He must have done it himself.
Yeah.
The Avett Brothers.
Wow.
Let's see.
I did not know that this was here.
Wilco. Yeah, this is Joe Satriani.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hailstorm. Tommy Two-Tone. Brit Floyd.
Yeah. Some of them are more creative than others.
Yes.
That about rounds up our trip here. It's time to get back on the plane and get the heck out of here. Doors closing.
Greg, I'm so thankful that you were able to join me on this episode. I would not have had the background or the information to explain it appropriately as a guy that lived it.
That's right.
So again, thanks for coming out and showing us the plane and all the inner workings of the Grand Theater. Hope you had a good time as well.
It was a pleasure. I hope I got the facts right.
Absolutely. Thank you again. All right, thanks for hanging out, and I hope you really enjoyed this episode. I was super excited to make it for you, and I saw some things I've never seen before, and I don't know when I'm going to have the opportunity to again, so glad to have you along. I'm finishing up this episode right in the middle of hot August nights, so that the town is full with people and old cars, so I decided to come down to Craft here on Martin Street in Midtown. It's a little more quiet here. And Craft is a great place where you can come get some draft beer. You can also get bottles and cans, and you can have them on site. And today I'm enjoying a Imperial Russian Stout, which makes no sense on a hot summer day. It's a big, huge, dark, kind of a winter kind of beer, but I don't care. It looked good to me. And that is all I have for you today. I'm working on another episode as well. So I want to thank again Greg Hoff for coming out. He came out to the GSR with me multiple times to do this. He spent at least 3 hours with me on the second day of filming. So thank you, Greg. And thank you, management at GSR. And as well, if you're watching, Alex, thanks for letting this happen. I really appreciate it. So, as Harold S. Smith Sr. of Harold's Club always said, I'm with you. Cheers.